On this episode, I'm going to share with you a skill that you can develop that will help you build trust with potential clients, meaning you'll get hired a ton more. Let's dive in. What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 340 of the Massive Agent Podcast. I am your host, Dustin Brohm, here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And today, I'm going to tell you how to develop, first off, what skill I'm talking about, but how to develop it and why it's so damn important. Some of the best realtors, meaning the realtors who sell the most houses and get the most referrals and build the most trust with their clients and potential clients, they all do this one thing. But before I go there, I need to really, I need to highlight here the importance of, if you've listened to the last couple episodes, you know what I'm about to say. The importance of getting in the same room with people that have built what you want to build. So to that end, I talk with a lot of you guys, and you tell me that you're at a point where you're trying to build leverage, right? You're busy, but you don't know how to get to the next level. You want to start a team, but you don't know how. There's so many different ways to do it. How do you structure it? Who do you hire first? How do you compensate them? How do you provide leads for those people? All this stuff, right? Well, I thought, okay, if I was going to start a team today, what would I need? Who would I need to surround myself with? And then I built a mastermind event around that. I am announcing the Ignite 2024 Team Builder Summit in Salt Lake City, Utah, August 7th and 8th. Tickets are now available. Some of the VIP tickets are already gone. You're absolutely going to want to snag those while you can. There's only, like 14 left, I think. And here's what I did. If you're going to start a team, you need to know, first off, how to choose your model. How do you structure it? Like, what are the splits going to be? And are you going to make sure you structure it in a way that's profitable? Because I don't know if you know this, a lot of teams are not profitable. And if the team leader steps out of production, the whole thing falls apart. I'm going to show you how to, lead gen, right? If you're going to have a team, how do you provide leads? How do you get them? Do you just buy Zillow leads, or do you do something else? There's so many great lead sources, most of which you've never heard of, but the best team leaders out there know them. And the ones speaking at our event are going to be sharing them with you. Building and keeping a sticky team culture. How do you scale? Right? How do you hire one agent and a second? And how do you scale and add and keep adding agents and make the whole thing work? How about finances? How about running the numbers and crunching the numbers and getting the money right around a team? And then how do you maintain a large team of productive agents? So to that, we're bringing in some of the industry's best team builders for our Team Builder Summit. We have Neil Dingra coming in. We have Paige Steckling. We have Michael Perry, who runs the #1 team in Utah, who's on track for 1,000 transactions this year. And we have Jonathan Campbell, the leader of the #5 real estate team in the country. That's right. On the Real Trends list that just came out, they're the #5 mega team in the country. They did about 2,000 transactions last year with about 20 agents. You crunch the numbers on that, insanely productive. And so all of these people are going to be just opening their playbook and showing you how they've built the giant teams that they have built. But you need to be in the room. Okay. I priced this extremely aggressively, if you will. So for the next few days, while you're hearing this, use the code EARLY and tickets are half off. Go to igniteslc.com, grab a ticket, come to Salt Lake City, spend time with us. And if there's still VIP tickets available, my hell, grab one, because the VIP dinner is going to change your entire career. I promise you, just by the conversations you have with the other great team leaders in the room. And of course, dinner's included if you're a VIP. But get in the room, do what you have to do, beg, borrow, steal, figuratively, and get your ass to Salt Lake City, August 7th and 8th. IgniteSLC.com for tickets. Use code EARLY to save 50% on those tickets. So this skill that you need to develop, right? When you look at some of the most productive agents, or the agents that are they just keep growing and they keep getting hired, and you keep seeing their signs popping up all over the market, I will bet you that 99.9% of them have developed the ability, and this is a skill, this is something you have to practice, of telling a potential client something that they don't want to hear. When you're early on in your career, I'll speak for me, okay? The first half of my career, it was very difficult for me to say, oh, you want to list it at 500? Sorry, it's only worth 410, right? You're up in the night if you think it's going to sell for 500. I would, because I needed a paycheck. If I'm being totally honest, I was coming from a place of scarcity. It was very difficult for me to just say, nope, sorry, 410. Oh, you want to list it at 500? I can't help you. I would absolutely, come up with some way to meet them in the middle, or, because I needed the business, which is not a good place to be. That's not a position of strength. But over time, as I started to sell some more houses and get a bigger pipeline, I developed some confidence. And when I shed the scarcity and, wrap myself around abundance, finally, and some of this took confidence and repetition over years, right? Just becoming a more confident agent. I was able to tell people stuff that they didn't want to hear, right? Uh, this can mean so many different things, but this skill is so important. Why? When you're sitting down with a potential client, they know you want the business. They know that you want them to hire you. And then when you tell them something, like what most agents do is they just say everything that you think the potential client wants to hear, right? Thinking that that's the way. Well, if you tell them something they don't want to hear, but it's the truth, what happens? Well, you build trust, because let's say it's a seller. They're thinking, wait a minute, like that's not what I wanted to hear. That's not good news, but he's telling me bad news. Wait a minute, that might not serve him. And this is all happening subconsciously, right? This is all, just psychological in their head. They're like, okay, I trust this person. When you tell a potential client something that they don't want to hear, as long as it's accurate and truthful, it builds trust. When you tell the truth, it builds trust. What a freaking concept, right? Yet so many agents, for a myriad of different reasons, right? I just explained, why I struggled with that, because I needed business, I needed a paycheck, and I was coming from scarcity. We lack intellectual honesty, right? And it's not that we're straight up lying to people, but that we sugarcoat, or we beat around the bush, or we dance around telling them the absolute truth. And we're not willing to say, hey, I'm sorry to tell you your house is not worth 600. It's worth 480. I don't know where you got 600 from. It's not accurate. Here's why I think it's worth 480. And anything more than that, and you're just setting yourself up for failure. It is what it is. And you have to be willing to walk away knowing they're not going to hire you. But you did them a service. When you don't tell them that brutal truth, when you don't lean in and tell them what they don't want to hear, when you refuse to or avoid giving them the bad news, that's a disservice. If you tell a seller, sure, let's list it for 600, and you think it's worth 480, how is that helping them? How is that helping them? You're doing it because you think it helps you. You're like, well, if I just get the listing, I just need my sign in the ground and we can always do price reductions later. Maybe. Does it always play out like that? Sometimes. But you know what? They also might think you're a dipshit. They also might think that you're a terrible agent, or that you lack intellectual honesty, or that you lack integrity even, or that you just don't know what the hell you're doing. This is, if you've ever gotten a listing from you've taken over a listing that was listed with another agent, the seller is always telling you they didn't know what they're doing, right? They didn't know what they're doing with pricing. They didn't communicate, blah, blah, blah. You can avoid all of that and set yourself up from a position of strength to actually serve your buyers and sellers if you just tell them the damn truth, even if it's not what they want to hear, especially if it's not what they want to hear. If you can just get very confident in knowing that telling them the brutal truth, especially when it's not something they want to hear, that is a superpower. And if you get used to it and you lean into it and you embrace it, and that's just, you're doing it for them, you're going to do very well in this industry. Because when you build trust with people, even if they don't hire you, they trust you. You may not get that listing because some other agent's saying that they'll list it 100 grand higher. You may not get the listing, but pretty soon that seller's going to be like, holy shit, we should have listened to Dustin. He was telling us the truth. And then in the future, they're going to refer you to others. They're not going to refer you to the idiot that listed at 100K over value. They're going to refer you because they trust you. If you just continue to build trust with people you come in contact with, your business will scale. You will get hired more and more and more. You may lose that one deal, but you may gain hundreds later. So zoom out. Do the right freaking thing here. Tell people the brutal truth. And look, this concept means a few different things, right? If you lack intellectual honesty, you may be telling people, like, here's your options. Like, yes, I think you should sell. It's a great time to sell. Well, is it? Have you ever told a client they should not list their house? I have. Not in the beginning. It was hard, right? But sometimes it's not the best time. We're in a high interest rate environment right now. Yes, I know, morons, it's been a lot higher before. That doesn't mean shit. It's high now compared to what people have been used to the last decade or more. So we're in a high interest rate environment. Homes are much more expensive, and the cost of financing is much more expensive than it was a few years ago. People are still having a hard time with that. So maybe it's not a good time for them to sell. Maybe they should wait, depending on the situation. Now, I'm a firm believer that if you're just waiting, hoping for interest rates to come down, you're probably going to screw yourself, right? I believe that. But depending on their situation, it may not be advantageous to do what they think they want to do. So something magical happens when you show up to a listing presentation and you say, you know what? My professional advice to you is you don't sell this house right now. They're like, wait, what? You build so much trust, and now they know that you're going to tell them the truth in the future. It's such an easy, simple to understand concept, yet it's so difficult to implement, right? It takes practice to implement. It takes confidence. It takes abundant thinking. So let's look at this in your business too. Like, I'm going to give you my story. You guys know that earlier this year, I left eXp Realty after 6 years. I was there for 6 years. Great company. And I moved to Real Broker because I thought it was a much better company for me, right? And for what I wanted and for the agents that I was connected with. I felt like it was a much better opportunity, much better situation. But I didn't get to that decision point without some intellectual honesty, without some intellectual curiosity, right? I had to get to a place where I was like, okay, am I in the right place? Is where I'm building my business where I should be? Is this actually the best? Is the stuff that I'm settling for or tolerating, is this really the best it could be, right? Is this really what's best for me? Is this best for my agents and my team? I came to the conclusion it's not. And then there's a much better option. And I'm very happy with it. It's been just over 4 months. And it was one of the best business moves I've ever made in my entire career, for sure. But a lot of times agents are just screwing. You're screwing yourselves because you're thinking, this is the best. Nope, I made a decision, and if I made the decision, it must be the right one. Well, you might have made the right decision at the time, but then shit changes, doesn't it? So when I went to eXp 6 years ago, 1000% that was the right decision. And it was for years. But shit changed. Happens for you too. So are you with a team that no longer serves you? Are you with a team that you've outgrown, but you just like, you're so stuck? You're like, I made this decision, so it must be good. Well, have some intellectual curiosity to question yourself, to challenge yourself. Is this still the right place now? Is my butt still in the right seat now? I see this every day, unfortunately. And everyone goes through their own thought process, their own journey, right? To figure out, okay, you know what? Maybe I've just been settling. Maybe I'm not happy. Maybe where I'm at is not ever going to let me get to my goals. We've talked about this many times. If you've been listening to the show for a while now, this is not a new concept for you. And luckily you get to hear it again and again. This repetition is key here because eventually it's going to crack through. You say you have certain goals, but then you're in a place that will never allow you to get there. I was talking to an agent the other day on the East Coast. I'm not even going to say the market, or I was talking with an agent on the East Coast, and she was describing her broker, right, at her small local brokerage that she's at. I think they still had 100 or so agents. So it's small, but not super small. And this broker did not want his agents networking with agents outside the brokerage. That was when I first heard that, I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. He highly discouraged connecting with other agents on social media, with networking with agents outside the brokerage. Did not want people building teams. He said teams are for idiots, which is a wild concept. Like, how do you get to that mental place? But I looked at this and I was like, there's so many agents that are in a position like that. You're in a brokerage like that with a quote unquote leader like that they're literally just holding you down and preventing you from growing. They don't want you to create a business. They don't want you to start a team. They don't want, I mean, ask them how to build wealth. Ask them how to start getting into real estate investment. Ask them, how to one day get out of production and how to structure a business that'll allow you to step out of sales one day. Good luck, right? That's the last thing they want. Why? Because it doesn't serve them. They want you to shut up and sit down over in the corner and keep spinning that damn hamster wheel and just sell one after another with their name on the signs. Well, if you're in a position like that and then you have goals to one day get out of sales, how the hell are you ever going to do that? You have no one who will show you how to do it, let alone who wants you to do it, let alone will give you the resources to do it. So you've got to go somewhere else. You have to go to a company or brokerage or a team that serves entrepreneurs, that wants you to grow and will give you the tools and the resources. It's just incredible how many agents are out there stuck. And it's because they're not willing to question or challenge the decision they made before. Challenge everything, right? You may have made the best decision for yourself at the time, but shit changes. So just like you should develop the skill of being able to tell a potential client bad news as long as it's the truth, what if you develop the skill of giving yourself bad news as long as it's the truth? What a superpower that would be. If you could look at yourself and your situation, look at your goals and the seat you're in and the path you're on, and you're like, wait, this is all fucked up. This is not going to work. I have these goals, but I'm on this path and we're going in opposite directions. Something's got to change. You either keep going further away from your goals and making it harder to ever get there, or you make a bold decision to get on the right path with the right people. This is why being around the right people. So join a brokerage or a team with other entrepreneurs that are all financially invested in your growth and in your success. Most of them are not like that, right? Just being totally blunt. There's only a few companies out there that are even structured that way, that even have that as part of their culture. So you got to get around. You got to change your friends. You got to change the people that you're around. Get your ass to Salt Lake City, August 7th and 8th for our Team Builder Summit. IgniteSLC.com. I made the tickets 50% off because I want as many of you in the room as possible to make a huge freaking impact on your business. I'm probably going to lose money on this event, but I don't care because there's the potential to actually make a profit. But even if I just break even, it's so much bigger for me, this event. I crafted this in a way. I just thought, okay, if I was starting a business or if I was needing to scale and start a team, who would I need to surround myself with? And then I gathered those people. I put them together over a couple of days. We have a dinner set up for all of us to hang out. And that's why I built it. Get your butt to Salt Lake City, August 7th and 8th. The hotel rooms are discounted. The tickets are half off if you use code early. I don't know what you have to do. Drive across the country if you have to. Fly Spirit. Okay, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't fly Spirit or Frontier, but get your ass there. So anyways, become comfortable giving bad news as long as it's the truth. If people don't like it, so be it. You helped them. When you give hard truths to people, especially in a business setting, you are serving them. You're giving them the information they need, not just the shit they want to hear. Because they can go on Zillow or they can talk to their neighbors. Say, you sold your house for this much, or your cousin, 3 streets over sold their house for this much. My house is bigger, so mine must be worth this much more. They get themselves talked into that so easily. Your job is to give them some honesty, some reality. But you've got to build the confidence and the nuts to do that first. Thank you for listening today. I hope that this reaches the right people. Speaking of being around great people, BAMX, the community that BAM has built is incredible. The education, the online courses, the events. Go over to nowbam.com and check out the BAMX community. And when you join, use code MASSIVE at checkout, and you'll get a nice what am I trying to say? You get a nice discount by using code MASSIVE at checkout, and then getting the right. You want to know what if you, in order to be honest with people, you need information, you need insight, you need data or data. I think I say that word different every time. I think I say data most of the time, but for some reason I just said data. Whatever. You need that in order to be educated enough to give honesty and reality to people. That's potentially bad news for them, right? Depending on what their expectations are. And one of the best tools for agents out there is Keeping Current Matters. Go to trykcm.com/BAM right now and try it out for free. This is a tool that it's basically like getting a bunch of housing experts, like the best in the industry, the brightest in the industry, housing experts, economists, graphs and charts, and they tell you what to say to your sellers, how to educate your buyers, and what an interest rate going down will mean, and what an interest rate going up will mean. And they just put it all in your pocket for just a few bucks a month. Try kcm.com/BAM. Try Keeping Current Matters today. And thank you so much for listening. If you found value in this episode, please share this with another agent. Share this with your agent friends. Any agent you think needs this message, please shoot them a text with the link. Shoot them a DM on Instagram. And shoot me a message on Instagram @MassiveAgent if I can be helpful. Right? If you want to reach me, if you want to see what other resources I offer, please go to Massive Agent on Instagram. Click follow if you haven't already, and then look in the bio, the link in my bio. I have a bunch of resources for you, so go check that out. I want to help you as much as I possibly can. I need to stop hitting the microphone. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys next week, and I hope to see you in Salt Lake City, August 7th and 8th for the Ignite 24 Team Builder Summit. See you guys.